Hello, my friends. Hi, my name is Natasha. I am the founder and creator of the Glow Up Method, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. So today is Saturday. It's 4/20/2024, which is a palindrome. So, which means, for those of you that don't know what a palindrome is, it's like one way, it's one way, and then if you go backwards, it's the other way. So yeah, it's like one of those days, and it would have been an important day for my uncle because he loved numbers. And so now I just find it fascinating when you're like, oh yeah, that's the same way forwards as backwards. So happy 4/20/2024. I know 420 can mean a lot to a lot of people, but today for me, it's just a palindrome day. It's actually a really exciting day. Oh my gosh. So here we are. I'm big on like anniversaries and dates and things like that. So like, okay, it's been 13 days since my son was injured. It's been a week and a half since surgery. He is getting so much more independent. Like all of a sudden I was in my room doing my steps and I hear a knock at the door and I'm assuming it's Dylan. I can hear Brad next door. And I'm like, I always just joke around. I used to say enter. And so he was like, it's me. And I can't hear in the thing. And I had the TV on. I'm like, what? And he was like, I said, enter again. And he said, it's me. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I go to the door and there's Tyler standing with the crutches, got himself out of bed. And I know, right? That seems like, okay, it's something most of us take for granted, right? And whoever's an abled body and able to do it. And so here he was, and I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I need help. I have to go to the bathroom or whatever. But, so of course there's still some space, but I was like, look at you, Mr. Independence, over here getting up and getting yourself out of bed. And it's gotta feel so good, right? Like you feel a sense of pride. Like, and we were talking on the way home, I'm getting ahead of it, but like I was saying, what is something that like you appreciate more now that you've kind of lost it? And he was like, my ability to walk, for sure. It's like you take for granted what you were able to do before. And then I was like, well, what is something you've learned from this injury? Which again, like I just love having these kind of conversations with a 16-year-old, because you're just like, okay, where, and like, Mom, where are we going? What's he doing? No hesitation. And he was like, I've learned how to calm myself. And I was like, you know what? I would totally agree. You have done an amazing job. Like the like, just like me in the shower, it's like he is dysregulated and he is like breathing through the nose and exhaling. I'm like, I am just learning how to do this. So I am so proud of you for being able to recognize that you are dysregulated and that you're using this tool to help you to get back to your baseline. I'm like, I am so proud. Like you are leaps and bounds ahead, because you've learned these two things. Number one, appreciate what you have, because you never know when it's going to be gone, if it's going to be gone ever, right? And the second thing is how to calm ourselves when we're feeling dysregulated. I mean, gosh, the prior me, before doing all this work, I had lived in a perma state of dysregulation. Like everything was got me in a tizzy. Like it was overwhelming. My gosh, I can imagine my cortisol levels must have been through the roof. I just was a big stress ball and anxious and on edge. So yeah, again, leaps and bounds. But I started off the day, got up super early because I wanted to go down to the patisserie while everybody was still asleep. I really was eager to try this creme brulee banana thing because I love creme brulee and I love bananas. So I was like, yeah, why not? And I love pastries. So I wanted to get there for that. And so I, was like, oh my gosh, I wasn't even thinking about my favorite cake, but then it was there and I was like, how do I say no? I was like the conundrum of it all. And so I ended up ordering a couple things that I hadn't tried before. And then of course I got my Old Faithfuls. And so I was patiently waiting at the thing. I saw, the patisserie lady's husband, as I walked in, he was talking to people. So I just waved and, I went ahead and ordered and did my business. And then, next thing you know, Simone, the owner, must have seen me, and I was wearing at that time like a purple shirt, and she was like, oh my god, and she presents this like too beautiful to eat creation. It was purple and just, oh my gosh, I wish I could show you a photo, or it was okay. So it was purple, it had blueberries around the side, it was like in this tart and then it had a little bit of whipped cream and this like sugar glass butterfly, and it was so pretty. Oh my gosh, it was stunning. I was like, yes, I'll take that. And so I ordered one of those because of course I'm there in purple. It's only fitting. And or I ordered, but I was like, is there enough to this? She's like, yeah, I have 3. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I run over to the register, I pay for it, and oh my gosh, it was so good. It was like lemon and blueberry, or maybe it was lime, I don't know, but it was like, it just embodied spring. It was like light and airy and sweet but a little sour. Like, it was so good. So I had that. I even came home and I was like, listen, I'm gonna just break my fast early today. Like, I don't care. Like, this is it. And I ate a bunch of pastries. I had my stuff. I was totally like content and happy with that decision. And then I just was exhausted. Like, I was so tired. I just was like, I just want to lay down. So I was gonna do my steps. I was gonna get all this work done. And then I found myself snug as a bug in a rug on my bed. And I was like, I just need a break. And so here I was, like, this battle, this internal dialogue inside where it's like, I just want to rest. I'm so tired. It's been a lifetime, but it's been a couple weeks of just mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, like every kind of drain you can imagine. And so I just was laying there, and I have like the other side, like, get up, be productive, move, let's get our steps in, like, let's write, let's watch a show, let's learn, like, about learning, and let's get these piles of paperwork through. And like, and the other side of me was like, shh, like, I need a break, no more, I'm tired, like, I just want to lay here. And so I kept kind of drifting in and out. I cannot sleep on my back. If I sleep on my back, I get like sleep apnea or something. Like, I'll start to snore, which then wakes me up. And so I used to sleep on my back for years, but I just cannot anymore. But like, if I have the surgery that I'm considering doing, I have to sleep on my back. And I was like, oh, how am I going to do that? And I think it's like for weeks. And I was like, well, I just will also have no sleep. What's going to happen? But anyway, but it was like, I was on my back, so I didn't sleep well, but I was just so comfortable. I couldn't even imagine moving. And then, like, for some reason the house was unusually epically loud, but I like wasn't enough to be like, hey, I'm sleeping. It was just like, whatever, like, but it was enough to kind of keep disturbing me from the sleep. So eventually I stumble out of bed, and I'm like, okay, I got to get some stuff done. So I get a little bit of steps in, and I start getting prepared for taking Tyler, because I had promised, like I said, to take him to Google Fields out in Mountain View. And, like, have to psychologically get ready for that, get the wheelchair in the car, get, all the things, because I wanted to make sure he had a place to sit. I didn't know what the sitting situation would be, but I knew if he had his wheelchair, at least he'd have a place that he could rest his leg, which was super important to me. And he really wanted to keep his pride and keep his like dignity, and he did not want to go like riding in the wheelchair. He wanted to crutch. And so I totally respect that and got that. So his friends come running. They were so excited to see him because he was surprising them. The parents were so kind. They were excited to see me, and not me, mostly him, which is totally great. But super supportive, super kind, just my heart. I love it. It is just so great for him to be able to be around his peers and be around his teammates who have been, all of each other have been through a lot of different things, and they've all been able to stand by each other and support one another, which is just so lovely to me. So that was a great experience. And then after, his best friend's grandparents, because the parents were not in town, and I said, let's go out to dinner. And I was like, no, are you sure? So yeah, so we head out to Shake Shack. And I was like, the funny thing is, after surgery, because it's right next to, ironically, it's literally right next to Stanford. So, and where he was playing was 15 minutes from there, 10 minutes from there. And, but he wasn't playing, but his team was playing. And, he ends up, so I was like, it's so funny because I had kept promising him that, but he was never hungry, like after the procedures or after the surgery. So we never got it. And so it was so nice. Like we got to go and enjoy it. He got to be there with his bestie. Like we just chatted, we everything. And I like Shake Shack a lot. I could rarely eat it. The last time I ate it was not the last time I went to Vegas, but the time before that, because it's just not close by. But I was like, it's one of those things that it was super enjoyable, and to be there with the kids and see Tyler do something outside the house that did not involve a doctor for the first time in 2 weeks was lovely. So I'm excited about that. And I always love a good ending, right? Like I love a happy ending. Yes, I will talk to you about, the tragedy parts of it. And I think it's because I want to work through it myself, right? But I most importantly want to remind people that everybody is going through something. And if there's somebody that like this connects to, because this is kind of a rare injury, like this happens to somebody else's kid, like, no, I'm a resource for you. I can tell you what our experience is, and that's what I know or what I can read about other people's. But yeah, I think it's just really important to, again, have that community. And so after I got up from things, so we enjoyed that, then we end up coming home, and it's been a stop start with doing my steps. One, I was kind of procrastinating. Another, I was like getting Tyler wanted to write the thank you cards for my friends that were so generous at the gym to give him little gifts. And he also really wanted my help or wanted to talk to me. So it was kind of like, I've been stop start with it, whatever, with my steps. That's okay, fine. So like, here we are again, I'm cutting it to the wire. It's 11:42. So I should finish this at just about midnight. I ended up as I was like writing earlier, and I started like thinking about how, I have this torn like part about me, like even when I'm at rest, I'm not really at rest. I am having to kind of face these inner battles, and I'm conflicted because one part of me really wants to enjoy and listen to my body and refuel in that way. But the other part of my body is like, okay, let's get going. We got stuff to do, let's get it done and then we can rest. I'm not opposed to the resting. It's just, let's be productive. And so, after I got up from resting, there was like a piece of me and I was like, oh my gosh, I just kind of like wasted today. I was, thinking about like, what do I have to tangibly show for it? Okay, I have some pastries left. I have a full belly, and I was like really kind of struggling with this, and I started thinking more too, and I was like, it's like I need a coach. Like I started looking around, and again, like I'm not talking it's a big mess or anything like that, but like because my room is also my office and my recording studio and my place of rest, and my library has books, and my closet and everything. So my to-do lists are all in here, my gardening is in here. Like there's so many different things that happen in this very teeny tiny room, but it very quickly can like accumulate things. Like, so I have like one pile here, another pile there, 2 piles here. Like I have a bunch of paperwork with doctor stuff and PT schedules and homework for PT. And then, I have another stuff of like my work stuff for the glow up method paperwork. I've got, some shoes over here. I've got some stuff that needs to be returned. I've got a couple books over here. Like, so there's just a bunch of things that like need my attention. And I started looking around, and it was like my bed was disheveled because I had laid on it again. And I was just like thinking how not easy, but how quickly things can get out of hand and it's kind of disorganized. And I always use my room as a metaphor for what's going on inside. And you can know how I am doing if you look in my room. Like, that is exactly how I'm doing. It's right now, it's chaos. It's got bling water bottles everywhere. It's got some succulents. It's got, like mice, not like mouse, like not animals, but like, my computer mouse is over there. There's, a laptop here, a charger there, there's a box of tissue over here. Like, it's chaotic right now. And my goal tomorrow is to get it back to its serenity. I think that, I like to give myself some time. I like to start things on Monday, as I said, and I really like to start this Monday fresh. So my objectives for tomorrow are, I go to a potluck party. And after the potluck party, I also have a book club meeting. So I'm going to do a book club meeting, but that is virtual. So I'll be able to be at home and do that, which is nice. But I've really enjoyed making those connections. So that's important for me to be able to do if I can, but I will be still getting more outside time with my friends, from the gym. So that'll be exciting. And it'll be nice to like get dressed up, put on some makeup, like just feel pretty, enjoy the sun. Like, I feel pretty any day, but like, when you do your hair, you just, you put on some makeup, you get a little extra step in your, pep in your step. And so I'm going to do that. But, I started thinking about, like kind of like really focusing on this concept of wasting time. And like, I was like, what a waste of a day. Like, it was such a pretty day. Like, if I was going to do nothing, why didn't I just go do nothing outside? Or, so it was like, no, I had to realize that like every choice has a consequence, good or bad, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Like, the consequence of me resting then and not doing anything else was it was 2:30 in the afternoon and I had 1,400 steps. So I really needed to, understand that choice had a result, like a consequence. Like, consequence seems like a bad word, but like, like, oh, here's your consequence, but it's not even like that, because it's good or bad. It's just, this is the new path that you're on. You made this decision and this is where you are now. So, you're at this conundrum. Like, am I going to now do, what am I going to do? Here in my limited time, I'm going to be gone. At that point, I thought for 4 hours, but it ended up I was gone for 6 hours, because I think about 6 hours, because we left at almost 4. We got home at 9. So 5 hours. So, which was fine, like not a big deal, but it, like, still, that was 5 hours. That was not like, allocated to me, not a waste at all. Like, I actually even went and did other things this morning. After the patisserie, I went to Trader Joe's. I picked up flowers for the host tomorrow. Like, I did other things that were productive, right? Like, just not as productive as I would have liked to have been. And so I started like thinking like, gosh, there were so many people in my family that were literally creative geniuses. My Uncle Jerry, my Aunt Tina, and like those two really stood out to me because I thought they had the most amazing and fascinating ideas and concepts. And they would come up with anything, something. They would get super energized, totally into it. Like they sold me hook, line, and sinker. Whatever they were selling, I was buying. I just was like enamored with their creativity. I'm like, I never would have thought of these things. And then something happens. Like, it could be a life event. It could be, to somebody else in their family or friends. It could be some other kind of distraction, like, oh, I have this other idea now. And then they would like fall off of their ideas and never follow through again. It was like, it would kind of like slip away and turn into dust and nothing would happen with it. And I'm like, in some ways, I kind of can see that in me as well, where it's like, I come up with ideas, I come up with this, I go all in, and then I stop short of like finishing it or seeing it through. Like, so many projects that have started and then never finished. And I also can recognize this in my daughter. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a legacy, for lack of better words, curse. Like, we do this, we have great ideas, but then we just lack the follow through. And so it started me thinking like, well, okay, great. Like, I'm not sitting here and like, blaming anybody or anything. I'm like, I'm just acknowledging this is like the pattern. how do we break it? Like, what do I do? And, I started thinking, I'm like, what do I do? And so it's like one of the things that came up, I'm like, perhaps I need like a life coach. Like I need a life coach to come in here, analyze what I'm doing, read my playbook, sit here and say, okay, here is the constructive criticism and feedback. Like here's what I'm seeing. Let's rewrite this playbook together and find the discrepancies, and let's like lock it in, because you're close, you're so there. It's just a little on the messy side. And so, and then I started thinking, that took me to the next place. And I was like, okay, so if I was my coach, what would I say? And I'd be like, you waste too much time. And I'm like, okay, well, okay, great. That's an observation. Like specifically where? And I was like, okay, well, we can say like, you waste time where like you don't have a plan, and then you just kind of like let life fill it in. So like I said, here I have my calendar. Saturday, the only thing on that calendar says the patisserie, and I did it. And then after that, it was opened up. I didn't even have Tyler's thing on there, and it should have, but like it just left everything open because it wasn't like a planned action. And it got me also thinking like, okay, where else do I waste time? Well, I waste time on Facebook. Like I will go there, and I know, like I say, I use it a lot for the forums. I use it a lot for the groups I joined. I use it a lot for like information and education, and which is, I think, is super important, and community. So it's like all these things for me that I'm really attracted to, I'm really interested in, but I waste a lot of time on there. Like it's not in a controlled and conscious behavior. It is kind of like a default setting that I have now accustomed myself to. I also was saying, okay, I waste my time when there's sometimes a squeaky wheel and they suddenly need my oil, and it's as if I'm the only person to oil it, like whether they believe it is or I believe it is or whatever it is, that will waste my time. And I'm not saying that there's not rewards in all these things. There are rewards in all of these things. It's just, this is where it's inefficient. Like, when I'm having to, like if my son's at school and he just bored and doesn't want to be there and he keeps texting me and I'm allowing the distractions and I'm responding, I'm wasting time. Like just stay in school. We all do things that we don't like or whatever, or if I concede and say, okay, fine, you can come home, then I have to go pick him up and all, like, so it's not really wasting, but it is wasting time. It's just, I'm not using that time to achieve my dreams or to work on my dreams or do anything. Like, so again, there's that. And so, I started thinking like, well, what would work? Like, how can, if we've recognized now that we're wasting time, what are some strategies to be more efficient with that time? And I started thinking again, and I was like, well, like for me, what it is I can relate it to this. So prior to my most recent lifestyle changes with my health, fitness goals here, I would just eat, sleep, drink, whatever it is I wanted to do without any rules. I just did it all the time. I didn't want to exercise, I didn't exercise. I didn't want to do this, I didn't do it. I wanted to eat junk, I ate it. Like all of that was happening. And then when I heard about intermittent fasting, and after I had done a lot of research and studying on it, I was like, so let me get this straight. I could still eat, drink, and consume everything I want. I can have the breads, the sweets, the protein, the red meat, everything I want. Pizza, chips, cakes. Like I'm going to the extremes. I can have it all, is what you're telling me. But all I have to do is follow a time constraint. Well, I can do that because it's like, I don't want to eliminate Facebook. I don't want to eliminate my kids from my life. I don't want to eliminate the ability to have a flexible schedule with free time built in. So I felt like if I just become more conscious and more consistent with my time and what I do with it, then perhaps I will become more efficient. There will be less waste. So it started me thinking. So I'm like, oh, okay. So it's not bad. So it's like, okay, with my intermittent fasting, I can do that all. It's just that I have to do it in this thing. And it's not that like I'm being punished and this is what I have to do. It's like, this is what I'm choosing. And today I chose not. Today I was like, these pastries are just out the oven. They're not going to get any fresher as the day goes on. Let me just sit here and enjoy it. I got up early. I drove to the patisserie. I paid for them. Why not enjoy them now? Like, why not? What is the harm? There wasn't. So I did. And I have no shame about it. But I use this again for my thing. 9.9 times out of 10, I'm going to do it the way, you know, I set out in the plan. Sometimes there's deviations, and that's absolutely okay. That's what I want you to know too, is it's okay to deviate. Like, as long as you get back on the boat again tomorrow, if that's where you want to be, again, it's a daily choice. Like, you know, when I was thinking about my steps, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm at like 1,800 steps and it's 2:00 in the afternoon. You know, and that's again, like I said, it got me to my choices, but I still had the choice. I had the choice when I came home to say, I'm going to lay back in bed and I'm not going to do my steps today. Again, though, that choice is always there. It's just choosing the consistency and choosing what feels right for me. And of course, there's days that I'm like, I don't wanna. But on the same turn, 9 out of 10 times, even when I don't want to, when I see that, you know, number that I set as my personal goal roll up on my watch, I'm going to tell you what, like, I am like, yes, you know, thank you, you know, especially on the days where I don't dance and you're doing a lot of walking, like, it just gets old and boring for me. Like, it's, you know, I have writing. I don't really watch TV right now. I just am still watching Virgin River, like it's still on or whatever. Like I like it's painful for me to watch, but I was like, I need to be able to have a shutdown thing or whatever. So I'm still watching it right now, but it's a slow watch because I really don't watch TV unless I'm like, I need to just shut it all down and try to like focus on something other than my actual life or work or whatever it is. So I established, here it is. Okay. So then I started thinking, I'm like, well, where can I begin? Like, if I now know, and I've recognized that here are some loopholes, here are some, you know, areas in which you are, you know, losing time. So it's like figuring out a plan that works for me. And so like one of the things I was thinking about doing was like to become really intentional with my time. Like, it's my default setting. I go to the bathroom, I plan on being there for a while, I'll take my phone, I'm looking on Facebook. You know, like if I'm sitting in the car waiting for a kid to come out of practice, I'm looking at Facebook. If I'm, you know, like and I'm reading, and I mean, it's not like I'm just scrolling looking to see what everybody's doing on their vacations or whatever. I'm learning new things. I'm joining new groups that come to me. Like I was sad that today, like I couldn't do this succulent workshop that the one of the ladies I had met last week was hosting, because I was taking Tyler to his thing, but obviously taking Tyler to his thing was more important to me than going to a succulent workshop. But I was disappointed that it was something I couldn't participate in today. I mean, I could have, I just chose not to. And it really, like, again, got me inspired. Here was the other area of waste. Like, I will get an idea in my mind. Like, I will start to fixate on succulents. And the next thing you know, I've spent 2 hours looking up succulents, you know, thinking about what stores I can go to buy more succulents, thinking about what pots to put them in, all these things. And I was like, listen, you have so many succulents. Why are we buying more succulents? You know, but like, here I am fixated on getting more succulents for more hours. Why? Because one brings me joy. So I just want more. I guess that's why I have 4 kids. I don't know, like, if what it is, but anyways, that's a whole nother thing. But that's an area of waste. Like, I spent all these hours looking up these charcuterie cups, and today the day got by me and the cups came and they arrived in the mail, and I don't have the time between now and tomorrow morning to get this done. Like, I just don't, because you can't like make them ahead of time, because the stuff is going to taste stale and the meats are going to dry out and the cheese is going to dry. So it's something I'd have to get up super early in the morning and prepare. And it's not like I'm doing that many cups, but on the same turn, I was like, do I have another hour in there? So I spent hours looking up this thing that I'm going to not even probably make, just so I could go buy something in the store. So again, I say, for me, what I'm realizing is I see where there are insufficiencies. And it's up to me. Do I want to make the change? Like where do I want to either adapt or grow in there? And so for me, like I said, being really intentional, like take one small thing at a time. So like if I'm really intentional about saying, okay, I'm allowed to still go on Facebook, just like I'm allowed to eat anything I want. Like this is where like my brain works, right? Like I'm not being deprived of anything. It's just, here are the times, here are the rules for my game, because this is my game of life. Like here are the rules I'm creating for my life so that I can achieve everything I want. Because I don't want to just achieve reading and learning more information on Facebook. I don't want to only be, consuming. I want to be contributing. And if I'm wasting my time consuming and getting so caught up in that joy, I don't leave a lot of time for the contribution part. And so that part is very fulfilling and very important to me too. So I'm going to make a plan. That's like what's one of the ideas I came with, and say, okay, like take a look at like how much time are you spending on Facebook? I think they have like this information in there. And really let's narrow it down and say, here are the times that you're allowed to do it. And once you do it, you're allowed to be on there for X amount of time. And I can follow a rule. Like I can follow my calendar and I can follow the rules of, you can only eat between 1 and 9. Cool. Awesome. Got you. Check. Easy. I can do that. And so for me, I think that's going to be my plan of action, is trying to really like tie up those gaps, like loosen up or tighten up all the holes. Like I want to be able to break this legacy curse of having great ideas and passionate projects that we're working on that just slowly fade away because something squeakier came up and there's something new and shinier came up. Like my life is at a crossroads right now, like a for real crossroads. I've got a son who he's in, applying for jobs right now. It's a challenging time, but he's exploring what it is he wants to do with his rest of his life. I have a daughter who's graduating college. I have a son who's graduating high school. I have another son who is going to be injured for the next 6 months. So I've got a lot of things happening. Oh, and by the way, I'm recently separated. So there is a lot going on and I am embarking on this new journey. I don't have time to waste and say, okay, here's what I'm going to do, because within a short amount of time, I have to be able to stand up on my own and on my own 2 feet and not depend on anybody else to think that they're going to support my kids. Because at the end of the day, things have been said, things have been done, and I don't trust what somebody says they're going to do. I just want to know, I want to trust in myself. Like if somebody else, like their dad can help and provide for them, phenomenal. But if he can't, I need to know that I can. And that's just my own personal way of feeling safe and secure, because I come from a broken family. And somebody needs to man the ship. And so for me, I can control me and I control myself. So I need to get up and I need to get going, because quite frankly, my life and my kids' lives depend on it. So I need to work like my life depends on it. Like I'm get complacent, I get comfortable. And, today there is no regrets. There was no waste, because me doing this, everything aligned the way it exactly was supposed to, for me to have the revelation to realize what was going on. I, in essence, became my own coach as best as I could for that day. And I now am at the place where I can either say, one day I will make my life run a little bit more efficiently, or I will say, tomorrow, today is day one. And I believe that to be true. So I know I have read enough, heard enough, learned enough to know the secrets of a magical life. Now it's up to me to quit being so easily distracted, so easily abandoning of my own self, to get me on the path I belong. Even though everything I've done up until this point is putting me on that path, but I just need to follow through and see it through. So if you can relate to any of this, please give me your advice. Like, how are you more efficient in your life? How are you, like, what strategies are you using that maybe would help me or somebody else. Like, I am so curious. And so I say all this to say thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate you. You are beautiful. You are wonderful. I am so grateful that of all the things you could do, of all the things you can listen to, you're choosing to sit here and listen to me. So thank you so much. That is not lost on me. And I hope that you have an amazing day. Please go out there, give somebody a big smile, give them a compliment, and just watch how they glow up. So thank you so much. Bye.